Good morning. The weather is better. It's getting to be sunny, so it's time to switch to cold coffee. And they wrote a little note, enjoy, on it. I like it when they write those little notes because I get lonely. And sometimes I go to Starbucks in the morning instead of making my own coffee just because I want human interaction. Like that's how lonely I get sometimes. That I'll just literally go to Starbucks and just sit in Starbucks with a drink. Like not even talking to people sometimes, but just literally just being around people sometimes. It's a nice feeling. I very much enjoy solitude in my alone time, but I don't have a robust and fulfilling social life currently. And it drains me to not have that, to not be able to recharge with other humans. And I think part of it's connected to the fact that I live in Seattle, where the cost of living is really high. And, well, I don't live in Seattle. I spend a fair amount of time in the Seattle area, as well as like Vancouver, Washington, but mostly in Seattle lately. I live in my van there. So it's expensive, but then also the people are kind of crappy. The champagne socialist progressive types, I hate them because they're so fake and all they do is virtue signal and they don't actually do anything. But anyways, not really, it's connected to the title of the video because I feel like if I was not stressed about money every second of every day and I was able to invest in hobbies and invest in my community, I would not be so lonely. But because I am so freaking broke, I'm like, all I can think about is just, how do I make some money? How do I make some money? And it sucks because my self-esteem is directly connected to all of this. Like, I know I'm a generally competent, relatively charismatic person, but my inability to generate an income sufficient to provide a decent standard of living in this day and age really makes me question my self-worth. And I know I should not tie my self-worth to my ability to materially participate in reality, but that's kind of one of the big points of this whole 3D reality construct, is to be able to interact with matter around you and to be able to experience all that this planet has to offer and provide. And so I've had this idea. Last year I wanted to do it, and the sign was going to say, let me get the idea. I want to find a busy street in Seattle, and I want to make like a billboard, either one that like I wear, like a billboard, or one that's just like an A-frame that I stand next to. And I want to have resumes, and the billboard's going to say, have MBA, will work for $70K. It used to be $60K. Last year it would have been $60K. But inflation, it's like really hard to keep up with inflation. So now it's $70K. Because I'm just tired of living in my van. I'm tired of doing delivery work. I'm tired of not having hobbies and not having a social life and not even looking at women anymore. I've said this before, but I see women as like another human, but I generally just pay them no mind. It's like, oh, another human, whatever. And I hate that, I want a family really bad, but I suck at making money. And I want to be better. I tell the story about the fish warehouse that I was working in, making $20 an hour as just a driver and packer, a fish packer. But when they gave me the salary offer of $46K, I was like, I'd make more working 50 hours at the $20 an hour rate that you got me, instead of bumping me to this freaking salaried gig where I'm making less. And so the math just wasn't mathing, and that was really frustrating. And I haven't really talked about this other element of that story. I tell that story a lot because it still, 2 years later, still hurts me. Because like for a brief period of time, I thought I was done with this. I thought I was done with this just crazy struggle. And this job, they didn't want me to do like DoorDash and delivery work on the side, which, okay, deal. I accept your terms. Well, if you'd have offered me a fair wage, because $46K for one job, and then like I can't work another job, that's not enough. This was in Tacoma, Washington, so not Seattle proper, but still expensive, right? And an element of this job was to interface, to negotiate with the buyers in China who bought like most of the product. So negotiating prices for the day or for the week. And there was a lot of variability, but so negotiating prices, but then also negotiating with the divers who go harvest. It was gooey duck. So they'd go harvest the gooey duck. So the price points would have to match between two parties in totally different time zones, totally different countries, continents, languages. So it was like an international supply chain, international logistics sort of role. And on top of all of that, this job was to also help schedule the people who do the driving and the packing that I used to do, or was, still doing, but they wanted to promote me out of that role. So it's international supply chain, it's warehouse management and leadership. It's buyer and seller interfacing. That's serious professional work. Things that I've done in the past when I worked at Boeing and worked in supply chain management. I worked in conjunction with procurement agents and design engineers and mechanical engineers to interface with the suppliers, to get parts, to get part changes, all kinds of things, part substitutions, etc. So I had experience doing that. But I made way more at Boeing. When I left Boeing, I was making about $90K before bonuses and benefits and everything. Like $90K was my base. So years after I left Boeing, to be offered a supply chain type of job that was similar, dealing with international customers and clients and customs and all of that, to go from 90 and then years later being told 46 is the new standard, it's like, no, fuck you. Fuck you. I talk about this more than I should, and it's like I want to process past this, and I should. I'm trying. When I ruminate on this story, I try to think to myself, I'm not helping my situation by ruminating on this, but I literally don't know what the fuck to do. I'm like, literally just want to go. That's what I'm going to do this summer. When the weather gets even a bit nicer, I'm going to make a goddamn fucking sign. Have MBA. Will work for $70K. If I go into Seattle, like Seattle proper, it might make it $75K, but maybe even $80. Because in Seattle proper, that's even not that great. It's okay. I think you can live somewhat comfortably in Seattle on that, or you might have to live outside of Seattle and do a little commuting, but God damn, I feel so worthless and I hate this. And I know I'm not. So it's like this weird, I know I'm not worthless, but in reality I am, because I don't provide a lot to society. This delivery work shit that I do is not super helping society. I think it could be done better in a freer market, but that's a whole different thing. I hate that I'm helping Walmart make money, because they're my biggest sort of customer right now. I do mostly Spark. I'll sometimes do other stuff, but lately it's been mostly Spark. But I don't know what to do. I literally just, I hate this. I hate it so much. And I never set out to be a YouTuber. So I do these videos, but one reason, and I'll wrap up the video here. One reason I don't really seriously invest in YouTube is because if I were to be my authentic true self, I would they'd delete my channel. So even if I were eligible for monetization, I don't think I'd apply, because then I imagine they would do a deeper scrub of my content. And I've already talked about things that I'm pretty sure would get me channel strikes and get my channel deleted. Like the things they spray in the sky. I have a video years ago. I made the video. But that's the big reason I don't seriously try to do YouTube, because I don't want to be fake. I want it to be authentic. Whatever I do, I want it to be authentic. I don't want to have to censor myself and conceal my real views and to just be a fake person to manipulate the algorithm and to manipulate you, the viewer. That's the thing. Because if someone's projecting out fakeness, they're manipulating you. They're selling you a false bill of goods. Yeah, false bill of goods. Anyways, I'll end the video there. But if you know anybody hiring an MBA for some international or even domestic supply chain analyst or supply chain management work, please let me know. Much love, y'all.